Hey, Jules, I wrote an animated short on mental health. Let's watch it right now together, and then we can talk more about the background afterwards.
Cool. Really cool. I work around mental health, and things like this are just really important to have out there, like fun, friendly, exciting ways to talk about a topic that sometimes is a little hard to talk about.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it.
I work with young people, but I also have young people in my life. It's not easy to talk about these things because of stigma. So having an animated story is really impactful. I think we learn so much through art and visual interpretation that could resonate with so many different people. This overall message of you need people, right? You need to share things. We're social beings, we as humans. And so if we're just packing things away and throwing it behind a curtain and the packages keep stacking up, you start to feel lonely. You start to feel sad. That's a universal feeling from a lot of different cultures, backgrounds, identities.
In 2019, just before the pandemic, I was starting my transition from tech over to mental health. So I was trained as a crisis counselor. And it turned out to be really fortunate timing because when everything is locked down and I'm just at home not really doing anything, it was really great to be able to log in and take some of these crisis conversations and feel like I was doing my part to help out with the people who were struggling through the crisis. One of the opportunities this gave me was I became a panelist for the Movies for Mental Health. They use these short 5-minute films and they'd be essentially catalysts for talking about specific issues around mental health. Trying to reduce stigma, get these messages out into the open, talk about things that really just don't get talked about.
I've worked in mental health most of my career, almost 20 years now. There's periods in time in my life where I wasn't asking for help. Things were starting to snowball, and eventually people were coming to me and saying, hey, Jules, I think you need to talk to somebody. I think you need to open up. You need to start sharing. That point of vulnerability has actually really helped me evolve as a human over the past decade. What you're sharing really resonates with me in different ways for different people, different backgrounds. But I think art, creativity, animation around these topics is really what's going to be helpful to get people to feel like it's okay to share, especially for men, right? We as men really sometimes struggle with that.
There's this poem, in fact, I have it on my desk. It's called The Guest House. This poem was super important to me during my healing process. I'll just read it to you. This being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Way back in episode 1, we talked about this concept of alexithymia, this inability to recognize and describe your own emotions. And it's something I struggled with. And it's one of the first things my therapist worked on with me. It's just common in men in our culture. When you go to a therapist, they'll ask you, well, how did you feel about that? Or how are you feeling about that? And we just don't have the words, the ability to talk about that. So my therapist shared this poem with me. We worked on my alexithymia. I worked on getting in touch with my emotions, being able to verbalize it. I love the poem so much. I had it printed. It sits on my desk to this day. So during the pandemic, as I'm a panelist on these events, we're also doing all of our shopping online, like practically everyone is doing. And so every day there's new boxes at the door, UPS and Amazon and FedEx. And something in me just clicked. This talks about the guest house and emotions showing up at the door. Once my brain made that connection, the script kind of wrote itself. It just felt like this obvious analogy.
It's a very modern allegory, and I think we have to tell stories in ways that resonate. I do remember the pandemic, getting these boxes and things piling up. I think in your story, it's really clear. Sometimes we don't know what's happening to us. Things are piling up. There's this feeling, but if you can visualize it, you can see it, and there's art, like Rumi's poem. It really communicates something to us. Sometimes we don't know until it's seen or shown to us. What was really cool and what I really felt is that anybody could watch that and get what you were saying from any language, right? They didn't have to necessarily speak English. They could be from a different culture or background. We really need to be thinking more like this, Dave. How do we get the message across simply and powerfully and impactfully? And I think you really did that there.
Thanks. I appreciate that. The topic is about emotions. You don't need to use language to convey the emotions that are going on. I specifically kept it dialogue free in order to make it more universally accessible.
I think that's really important. I've spent thousands and thousands of hours working with people and thinking about mental health, and what gets in the way a lot of times is language and culture and identity. So if we can find universal ways through art to talk about stigma and the importance of talking, it's really impactful.
Thanks. The other topic that resonated with me is alexithymia, this inability to recognize and talk about emotions, which is common not only in our culture, but especially for men. So I thought it was a topic that was particularly important and something that I think more men need to be exposed to. There's only certain emotions men are allowed to express. This is what we believe in society. This is what we see. You can be joyful and triumphant, all the positive emotions, fine, lean into those. And then you can be angry as a man. If you're not happy, you can be angry, but you can't be sad. You can't be jealous. Right. You can't be ashamed.
Yeah.
Let's take all those emotions that come up and we'll just push them away. We'll ignore them. We'll pretend they don't exist. Let's maximize the positive. The protagonist, he's just cherry picking all the good ones and trying to, as best he can, push away the bad ones in his life. And as we see in the story, it doesn't work because those things don't go away. You can't just wish them away. You can't put a blanket over them. You can't put them in your closet. They're still around.
How you explained it, right? Like you can't be ashamed. You can't be embarrassed. You can't be sad. I've felt that for myself. And in just talking with people, young men especially, about their feelings, often I have to model that for them. I'll tell a lot of stories and I'll say, I was really angry, but I was actually just sad, or I was confused. Sometimes just that concept or just sharing that story is really impactful and powerful. It's really important we're just talking about this out loud as men, right? I just appreciate it. It's important to get that out there.
I thought it was important for them not to be white because this is a universal thing. So his name I chose is Kila Umtu, which is actually Swahili, and it means every man or every person. So a little Easter egg there. And I picked Africa and African descent because that's essentially where humans evolved. So I think someone from African descent is representative of the world. The name is the package deal. It's got this dual meaning of packages delivered to the doorstep, but the whole idea of being human, living life, having emotions, it's a package deal. You can't pick and choose. There's this belief that good emotions are good and bad emotions are bad, so I'm going to maximize the good and minimize the bad. It's a nice thought. Everyone has it, and everyone tries it, and everyone fails. So I just wanted to really emphasize that, again, being human and having emotions, it's a package deal. You got to take them all. You can't pick and choose.
Wow, Dave, the way you brought all that together, I noticed immediately the racial composition, and I really appreciate how you illuminated that. It's impactful working with young people and, understanding some of their reality. I think it's really important for us to be thinking this way in a very deep, universal, human way.
There's one more Easter egg. The address 3005, it stands for 3 out of 5, which is the number of men who struggle with mental health issues. It's the majority.
I really resonate with the package deal. Dave, thanks so much for sharing this. I think people will find meaning in this, and it'll help people feel like it's okay to be vulnerable, to have these conversations.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support us, please do share this with others. Watch other videos on our channel. We want these ideas to get out in the world, and you're the one who can help us make that happen. Our goal is simple. We want everyone in the world to live a happy and healthy life, and that starts with you.
See you next time.